با درود خدمت همه هموطنان عزیز، ایمان فروتن هستم و در برنامه امروز در این بخش گفتگوی داریم با یک بانوی گرامی، با یک نویسنده آمریکایی که من مدتی پیش از طریق یکی از همکارانمون در نهاد مردمی دکتر سیامک رفیع‌زاده با ایشون آشنا شدم. ایشون خانم اولین هورelle دیلی اسمشون هست و ایشون به تازگی کتابی رو نوشتن به نام The Drum Made from the Skin of My Sisters. کتابی هست در رابطه با تبعیضی که بر علیه زنان ایرانی و افغانی و اصولاً بانوانی که در منطقه خاورمیانه زندگی میکنن و در این کشورهای اسلامی در رابطه با اون نوشته شده. اجازه بدید که من این گفتگوی امروز رو به زبان انگلیسی اجرا بکنم و البته خواهید دید که باز زیرنویس فارسی خواهد بود. Dear Evelyn, dear Mrs. Dailey, thank you so much for joining our TV program today. In Farsi, I briefly explained to our audience, which is watching this program throughout the world, including inside Iran and all over Europe and North America, that today I have a wonderful guest. Mentioned your name, and I also mentioned that how I got to know about you and meet you through my dear colleague and friend, Dr. Siamak Rafi'zadeh, who has had this passion all these years to help and work for freedom of Iranian women and women everywhere, freedom of women and women's rights. And I know that some time ago, Siamak wrote a article which actually I believe started this whole journey that you and him started together, I believe. So we will conduct this interview today in English. So if you would please, Mrs. Dailey, and if I call you Evelyn, I hope you forgive me. It's just because of the respect and closeness that I feel towards you. And Siamak, if you would please go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself. I believe you live in the United States. Tell us about you. Tell us about the books that you've written, how you know Dr. Rafi'zadeh, and why did you decide to write this book that will give you, our audience, more information about this particular book. Go ahead, please.
Well, I am Eveline Horelle Dailey, and my daughter is married to Siamak's brother. And I have known his brother for, I don't know, 20 years or however long. And my interest in Iran began one day when my son-in-law sent me a video about Neda. And it was when Neda had been killed in her last breath. And that prompted me to write an article about the women and the people of Iran. Although I have a great sympathy and a great interest because of my allegiance with my daughter, etc., the article went to a lot of people. And when Siamak Rafi'zadeh asked me if I was interested in a project with him, I thought that was very odd. I did not even know that he had read the Neda piece. And he told me a few stories, and I said, yes, I will help you write an article. So we wrote together, and the article came back. I guess it was published. And not too long after that, Siamak sent me an email. And he says, "Dear Evelyn, I have another project for you."
That's Siamak.
Yes, it is. And still in the dark, I said, well, send me data. I'm a novelist. And he sends me some information about the young girls and the women in Iran and historically in the Middle East and Asia that are being married off very young, and the cruelty of all this. And first I thought, no, I can't write about that. This is too painful. And I gave it some thought, 5 minutes or so, and I began writing. And it was very difficult at the onset because I did not know what I was going to write about. But it seems that once I made up my mind, data from friends of Dr. Rafizadeh and others that I have met since kept coming to me. It was as if the book was writing itself.
Wow.
Although as an author, I took some liberties. I manufactured the 2 girls in the book. They are fictitious. I had to change name, but their stories are pretty much the truth. And I had to use my own life experiences because in the book, the girls are brought to the United States after they are rescued. One was going to be burned to death by her husband because she had a baby girl. And the other one was going to be stoned to death because she had a stillborn baby boy.
I'm sorry to interrupt, Evelyn, here. So to back up and go back one step, so the book that I mentioned the name, The Drum Made from the Skin of My Sisters, is about 2 fictitious characters, 2 ladies, 2 girls, and is one, I understand, supposedly from Iran and another from Afghanistan. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
And all of their stories are based on truth.
Okay.
Stories that were told to me. And the book continues, takes them when they arrive in the United States, not speaking English. The Iranian gal only spoke Farsi, and the gal from Afghanistan spoke Pashto, but she did not write. So literacy had to come to the fore. They both had to learn our alphabet, and I had to, not me, but the person taking care of them had to teach them to speak English. In order to do that, I used a method that was used for me. When I came to the United States, I did not speak English. So my original teachers kept pointing at things, saying computer, table, glass, tea, and on, a bunch of words that I had to repeat, not really knowing what they meant. But eventually, everything started to narrow, and I was able to make very small sentences. So at the beginning of the book, the girls are speaking in broken English. And as they learn, they become completely verbal. They are able to express their thought. And the story truly begins as they flourish into distinct human beings with distinct ideas. And they go into higher education with the idea that if women and girls in those countries and those religious backgrounds are educated, life will change. So the premise of the book is to let people know that education within cultures is absolutely necessary. And the abuse that the girls do experience are due to ignorance. They are themselves ignorant because this is all that they have known. Their mothers have known that. And the mothers have raised boys to be exactly like their husbands. So it's a very, very vicious circle that I try to give ideas how to break.
That's fantastic. What a story about this particular book that you have written. How long, because I remember talking to Dr. Rafizadeh about the initial article that he wrote and had sent you not too long ago. I think it was less than a year ago, a few months ago. Could you tell us a little bit about the timing of when it started? It sounds like it was a fairly quick project. Like you said, first tough, but then it just started writing itself.
Exactly. It took about 6 months to write. And as I said, it was like having a fever. It goes higher and higher, and you have to get it out. And I did just that. And my poor husband had a lot of cold meals. I could not take care of him, but he's a brilliant man that understands what I do and understands my own passion. So the book was written, and of course it went the normal route of having people read the raw manuscript. And I also had, of course, to have the book professionally edited. There is only one part of the book that is not edited. That is a poem that I found on the internet by a gentleman that he writes about the honor of killing. And the poem is so powerful that I sent him an email and I said, may I use this in your book? And we became friends and we talked back and forth. And not too long ago, I told him I wanted to send him a book. And he says, that will be a little bit difficult. I am in Jordan. All this time, I did not know that I was corresponding from somebody from Jordan. Wow. I thought he was in the United States. He's very fluent in English. He is a professor. He is just, I will not talk about the poem, but in the book, it is really one of the most powerful parts of the book because it fed my passion.
I see.
And go ahead.
Please go ahead and finish your thought.
I think anybody, male or female, that reads the book and reads the poem will realize the value that we must bring to women so they themselves can turn around and do the same for their daughters and their daughters' daughters, so they can be educated and find their own freedom. Because somebody was a victim, they don't have to die a victim. And in this particular case, in Iran, I am not Iranian, I cannot truly understand. But I think it will come a time when the women themselves will all stand up and say enough.
And that's absolutely true. That's one of our strongest beliefs in the New Iran organization, as it's been obvious through the last 34 years, at least inside Iran. Women have been one of the most powerful, if not the most powerful voice against the brutality of the regime, standing up to all the brutalities and everything else that they do and all the pressures that they put on the poor women in Iran, even though right now over half of the students in all universities in Iran are women. But again, they do not have a lot of rights, and a lot of the religious beliefs are really pushed on them and exercised in that society. Evelyn, before we leave, I was going to ask you, how can people who are interested, find this book, purchase this book, gift this book to others? Is there a website or a contact that you can tell us, and we'll put it under the screen so people can go ahead and get that?
Okay. The book is available at Amazon.com. Okay. They just put the name of the book or my name. The name of the book is The Drum Made from the Skin of My Sisters. And my name is Eveline Horelle Dailey. They can put either one. And today the book became live as a Kindle book also. So those that do not want a physical book can download it on their Kindle.
Fantastic. They can purchase digitally. I know a lot of people will be jealous. I have my own copy with your handwriting on it. I very much appreciate it, and thank you for that. And also, I wanted to mention to all of our audience, I guess outside Iran, that Dr. Rafizadeh also had offered 10 copies of this book for anyone who supports our organization and donates a minimum of $100 towards the goals and efforts of the New Iran. You will receive a copy of this book, The Drum Made from the Skin of My Sisters, as a gift by Dr. Siamak Rafizadeh. I'll leave the last words to you, Eveline, if you have any parting thoughts that you would like to share with our audience. And I was going to thank you again one more time for the effort you put in this book. I'm sure from what I've heard from Dr. Rafizadeh, it's a great book, and from what you explained, the more we tell the stories of the situation that women have in general in undereducated countries, in countries that are dictatorships specifically, and as you mentioned in these examples, inside Iran right now and Afghanistan, and I'm sure a lot of other countries that have similar situations for women.
I wish to thank you and the audience, and do hope that people will buy the book, not really to sell the book, but to be informed. And I think once one person tells the other, there seems to be a momentum that happens, and people become a little stronger. And as we become stronger, we can fight what needs to be fought. We can make right what needs to be right. And that is the premise of what I do. There is a possible next project that Dr. Rafizadeh is introducing me to a lot of videos that I have to watch. He's translating a great deal for me, the things that I don't understand. And maybe there will be another book next year.
I'm sure that with the energy that you have and you've shown today, and Dr. Rafizadeh's ideas for new projects, we'll probably see that coming soon. I also wanted to invite you and other persons that you may know who actually care about this subject matter to maybe become volunteers or some spokespeople for the New Iran amongst the non-Iranian community. And again, thank you very much for your appearance on today's show. Wish you the best of luck, and looking forward to speaking to you soon once you have your next project ready to introduce.
Very well, thank you. And if anybody wants to get hold of me, they can do so via email, Eveline, Eveline now, at gmail.com.
Fantastic. We'll make sure that this is shown on the screen for people to, if they wish to contact you directly. Thank you again, Eveline.
Thank you.
Good day. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye.